Good afternoon, dear students. We will continue the portions what we have covered in the previous class. In the previous class, we saw this slide. The protocols used for constrained node networks must be evaluated using the following characteristics. So these are the characteristics which are listed below, which are using which we will evaluate the constrained node protocols which are used in the constrained node networks. You know what is a constrained node networks, right? Constrained nodes means which operate on the the constrained environment. Constrained environment in the sense memory will be less, power supply will be less, and there will be less processing power. And the constrained node networks means majority of the nodes in the network are constrained nodes, and they will be the protocols which are used in such constrained node networks are evaluated using these characteristics: the data rate and throughput. The data rate means at what rate the data flows from sensors to the destination. Throughput means actually what practically data rate is theoretically how much data should be flown from the sensor to the destination, but throughput means actually practically how much it flows. Then latency and determinism. You know, latency is the delay in transferring the data. Determinism means exactly how much amount of data, so the threshold will be fixed. Beyond that threshold, the latency shouldn't be crossed. Then overhead and payload. Overhead in the sense the headers which are there fixed. You know, you have studied about the headers, right? So headers for each of the packets will be put. We'll see what are those headers. So whenever it passes through each layer, the data passes through each layer to be transferred from one node to another node, some header will be attached to it. So that is the overhead, and the payload is the actual data which is being transferred from sensor to the destination. Then we'll study in detail all of them, all those characteristics: data rate and throughput. The data rate is the maximum ability of the channel that can transmit bits in a second. Throughput is actual amount. As I told you, data rate is the fixed one. Throughput is actually practically how much it is transmitted. The data rates available from IoT access technologies range from 100 bits per second with protocols such as Sigfox to tens of megabits per second with technologies such as LTE and IEEE 802.11 AC. That means approximately 100 bits per second to tens of megabits per second. So that is the range of the data rate available from IoT access technologies. The actual throughput is sometimes much less than the data rate. So that we studied, right? So data rate is actually the theoretical fixed one, but the actual throughput will be much less than the fixed data rate. Technology is not particularly designed for IoT, such as cellular and Wi-Fi. So these cellular and Wi-Fi technologies are not particularly designed for IoT networks, right? IoT networks are built in a constrained environment with constrained nodes, but cellular and Wi-Fi are used with our smartphones and laptops and systems also, which are not working in a constrained environment. Match up well to IoT applications with high bandwidth requirements. For example, video analytics. So with the cellular and Wi-Fi, we will do some video analytics. So these nodes are found in retail, airport and smart cities. These IoT endpoints are not constrained because they are not working in a constrained environment. Power or the memory or the processing capacity is adequate. Hence, the design guidelines to focus on are latency and determinism. So we have to concentrate on, they are not working in a constrained environment. We just have to focus on the latency and the determinism. What is the delay it is causing, and it should be uniform throughout all the operations. The delay should be uniform throughout all the operations. That is called as determinism, and it should not cross the threshold. So that is determinism. So only that constraint we have to take care of. Then latency and determinism. Wireless networks suffer from packet loss and retransmissions due to interference, collision and noise, isn't it? We have studied that in wireless networks we'll have a lot of interference, collision and noise because the data transfers in open air. On constrained networks, latency may range from a few milliseconds to seconds. So latency will be a few milliseconds to seconds. UDP at the transport layer is strongly recommended for IP endpoints communicating over LLNs. So because we are using wireless networks, we use UDP. UDP is User Datagram Protocol over the LLNs. What is an LLN? In the previous class we studied that LLN means low power lossy networks. Then overhead and payload. The minimum IPv6 MTU is maximum transmission unit. That means how much amount of data per packet we are sending. That is maximum transmission unit. The minimum size of IPv6 data packet is 1280 bytes. The fragmentation of IPv6 payload has to be taken into account by link layer access protocols with smaller MTUs. So what do you mean by that? So here IPv6 protocols have to be sent on different standards which may not be having or which may not be supporting this MTU size, which is 1280 bytes. So what we need to do, we need to compress the header information and also we need to fragment the data into smaller MTUs so that it transfers from the source to the destination on the IP using IPv6 using that technology. So overhead means the header and the payload is the actual data. So minimum IPv6 MTU, that is maximum transmission unit, size is 1080 bytes. All the IoT access technologies may not be supporting this. What is IPv6? IPv6 is Internet Protocol version 6. It is an advanced one, right? So its MTU size is, the packet maximum size is 1280 bytes. So all the IoT access technologies may not be supporting that size. Maybe it is less. So because it is working in a constrained environment and data rate is less, so we need to fragment the data packets into smaller units and also we need to compress the header. We will be studying about that in the upcoming discussion. So fragmentation of IPv6 payload has to be taken into account by link layer. So that fragmentation is taken up by the link layer protocols with smaller MTUs. So that fragmentation will be taken care by the link layer. So next, those are the characteristics using which the protocols used in IoT access technologies are evaluated. So let us now come to study about the IoT access technologies. I was telling you from many previous classes that we'll be studying different IoT access technologies in our upcoming discussion. So let us start with IoT access technologies. So IoT access technology is a basic building block of IoT. It connects the real world to the internet, isn't it? Real world to the internet in the sense the sensors and the smart objects are existing in the real world, and that real world sensor or the smart object should be connected to the internet by connecting it to a gateway or a server or a PC or a cloud through some access media, which is called as IoT access technology. The following common information set is addressed for each IoT access technology. Whatever the IoT access technologies we'll be studying later, IoT access technologies may be like the Bluetooth, the cellular technologies, the IEEE standards, ZigBee, any other IoT access technologies we'll be studying in our upcoming discussion. We will be dealing with some of the common information set which is addressed by all the IoT access technologies. So which are those common information sets? So here are they: standardization and alliance. So every IoT access technology will be having a standardization and alliance that maintain the protocols for the technology. Then we'll be discussing about the physical layer of the access technology. Physical layer is for transmission of the data, whether it is wired or wireless method, and what are their frequencies. Then MAC layer, we'll be studying about the MAC layer of IoT access technologies. Consideration at media access control layer. So media access control layer means it bridges the physical layer with data link control layer. Then we'll also be studying about the topology, which is supported by that IoT access technology. So we have come across already the topologies which are supported in IoT network, which are the star topology, peer-to-peer topology, or the mesh topology. Then the security aspects of the technology. So what kind of security measures it takes, it provides, what security functionalities it provides, what algorithm it uses, what kind of keys it uses, all those things we'll be studying. And also we'll be studying about the competitive technologies. Competitive technologies in the sense other technologies that are similar and suitable alternatives to the given technology. So like if we take some medicine and the medicine is too costly, we'll be looking for some alternative of the same combination whose cost is lesser, right? So similarly here also for any IoT access technology, we also will learn about what are the other similar kind of competitive technologies which are suitable to the technology under discussion. So these characteristics we'll be studying for all the IoT access technologies. So what are they? We'll be studying about for each IoT access technology. We'll be studying about standardization and alliances, physical layer, the MAC layer, the topology used, security features, and competitive technologies. So these characteristics for all IoT access technologies we'll be studying. So first let us discuss about the IEEE 802.15.4 standard, which is a IoT access technology. It is a wireless access technology for low cost and low data rate devices powered or run on batteries. So these are this IEEE standard represents the wireless access technology for low cost and low data rate devices powered or run on the batteries. Okay, so low cost, low data rate in the sense LLNs. So they will obviously run because main power supply will not be there. So they'll be running on batteries or sometimes maybe powered. Okay, so it enables easy installation using a compact protocol stack. This IEEE 802.15.4 enables easy installation using a compact protocol stack. So let us study few more features. IEEE 802.15.4 is commonly found in the following types of deployments. So what are the application areas of IEEE 802.15.4? The application areas are like this: home and building automation. So home and building automation in the sense the appliances of the home are connected, like the AC, the music system, the door, the lighting, maybe PCs, coffee maker, etc. So you can connect different appliances at home using 802.15.4 technology. And automotive networks. So automotive networks like the cars, the other vehicles, the traffic and other things, parking and etc. Then industrial wireless sensor networks. Industrial wireless sensor networks in the sense the machineries which are used in the industry. Then interactive toys and remote controls. So for all these applications, we can use IEEE 802.15.4 IoT access technology. So let us study about the standardization and alliances. In the previous slides, we have studied that for all the IoT access technologies, few of the characteristics in common we will be studying, right? So one of them is standardization and alliances. So let us study standardization and alliance for IEEE 802.15.4. IEEE 802.15.4 or 802.15 task group 4, you can also call it as like this, defines low data rate phi. Phi means physical layer and MAC layer. Okay, so phi now onwards we will say for physical layer. Defines the low data rate phi and MAC layer specifications for WPAN, that is wireless personal area networks. 802.15.4 is a IoT access technology which defines low data rate phi and MAC layer specifications for WPAN. W stands for wireless and personal area network means, personal area network means any wearable or implanted inside the body technology communicating with some devices. It is a well-known solution for low complexity wireless devices with low data rates. It provides you low complexity wireless devices, but data rate is also low. There is no alliance or promotion body for this standard. Okay, there is no promotion body for this 802.15.4. Some of the most well-known protocol stacks based on 802.15.4 are, so now we are going to discuss some of the technologies which make use of 802.15.4 IoT access technology, out of which the first one is the ZigBee. ZigBee prompted through ZigBee Alliance. So it is the alliance, standardization and alliance. ZigBee is prompted through ZigBee Alliance. It is used for the applications like, we will be studying ZigBee in detail in upcoming discussions. Here we are just specifying what are the different technologies which are making use of 802.15.4 access technology. ZigBee prompted through ZigBee Alliance, used in building automation, home automation and healthcare kind of applications. It supports functionalities like device discovery, network join and security. The device discovery means in a network you can identify a device. For example, when you will be pairing the device using Bluetooth, so you will do device discovery, you will search for devices, right? So that is device discovery it supports. Then network join, after discovering the device, you will join the network through ZigBee, and it will also provide you some security features. We'll see what are those security features in detail. We'll be studying ZigBee in the upcoming slides. The next protocol which is using IEEE 802.15.4 is the 6LoWPAN. 6LoWPAN stands for IPv6 over low power wireless personal area network. So IPv6, that 6 which is in 6LoWPAN is for IPv6, Internet Protocol version 6, over low power wireless personal area networks. So that is 6LoWPAN. LO for low power, W for wireless, P for personal, A for area and N for networks. It will be studying about this also in detail in the upcoming slide. So here it is just an introduction. It is an IPv6 adaptation layer by IETF. IETF is Internet Engineering Task Force. It is an adaptation layer. So we'll see what is this adaptation layer. Describes how to transfer IPv6 packets over IEEE 802.15.4 layers. So previously I discussed that the MTU size of the IPv6 packets is 1280 bytes, but 802.15.4 MTU size is 127 bytes. So now we have to use IPv6 and we need to pass the data through 802.15.4 for IoT access networks. So for that we'll have to fragment the data into 127 bytes MTU. So that will be taken care by this 6LoWPAN. So what functions it will do? I told you that for the fragmentation of 1280 bytes of data into 127 bytes MTU. For that we need to do header compression and fragmentation. Header compression means, as I told you, whenever we pass through each layer in the network, a header will be prefixed. So that header need to be compressed, and so in order to reduce the size of the MTU, and also fragmentation of the major overload payload have to be fragmented, divided into 127 bytes. So that is taken care by this 6LoWPAN. It stands for IPv6 over Low Power Wireless Personal Area Network. It is an important topic. ZigBee also. The next standard protocol which is using this standard IEEE 802.15.4 is ZigBee IP. So it is same as ZigBee, but it is evaluation of ZigBee protocol stack. First open standard for IPv6 based full wireless mesh networking solution. So it is the first open standard protocol IPv6 to wireless mesh networking solution. It adopts 6LoWPAN adaptation layer, IPv6 network layer, RPL routing protocol. So what it adopts? We'll be studying ZigBee and ZigBee IP protocol stack in detail. There we will come across all these details. 6LoWPAN adaptation layer, IPv6 network layer, and RPL routing protocol. So what is this RPL routing protocol? It is a RPL stands for routing protocol for low power and lossy networks. RP stands for routing protocol, L for low power and lossy networks. So it is a protocol which is exclusively designed for low power and lossy networks. So this ZigBee IP adopts all those in the protocol stack, 6LoWPAN, IPv6 and RPL. We'll be studying the protocol stack of ZigBee IP in the next discussions. And also there is an improvement in the IP security than the ZigBee. The next standard which is supported by the 802.15.4 is ISA 100.11a. It is developed by ISA. ISA stands for International Society of Automation. It is based on 802.15.4 2006 version, which is released in the year 2006. The network and transport layers based on IETF, 6LoWPAN, IPv6 and UDP standards. We'll be studying this standard also in the upcoming discussions. So as of now, just you learn that network and transport layers are based on 6LoWPAN, IPv6 and UDP standards. The next technology is the wireless HART. It is promoted by Heart Communication Foundation. It is also working on 802.15.4. It offers time synchronized, self-organizing and self-healing mesh architecture. So probably in IoT networks, mesh kind of arrangement, the mesh topology is very popular. So this HART, wireless HART, offers time synchronized, self-organizing and self-healing. Self-healing means if anything goes wrong in the network, it will heal itself. If some in the mesh, if one path is some of the nodes in a path is not available, it takes the alternate path. So that is self-healing. Then thread. Thread is constructed on top of IETF 6LoWPAN IPv6. It is also based on IEEE 802.15.4. It is a protocol stack for a secure and reliable mesh network to connect and control products at home, and it is based on home automation. So now let us study all of them in detail. So first we'll go for ZigBee. So ZigBee is the most well-known protocols and continue to evolve over time. That means it is getting updated every time a new technology comes in. It is most well-known protocol. An IoT solution for interconnecting smart objects. So it is an IoT solution for interconnection of the smart objects in IoT network. So why the name ZigBee? Why this technology is named as ZigBee? It is named after zigzagging pattern of bees between flowers. It is named after zigzagging patterns of bees between flowers. So how the bees will move from one flower to another flower, zigzagging pattern. The same way the data flows in the ZigBee. See, like here you can see the different nodes available. So in the bottom of the slide you can see I have given you the ZigBee mesh networking. So here many nodes are available. You can see many nodes, the green nodes are available which are interconnected. The data from this end, from the bottom right end, there is a switch. From the switch, if you switch on the switch, the data moves from that end to the devices which are at the other end. There is a PC, there is a system, there is a light, etc. So devices are at the other end. So when you switch on the plug, the data should move to the other end. In between these two ends, there are several green colored nodes. So data travels through those nodes. It finds an optimal path and data travels through these nodes in a zigzag pattern. So that's why it is ZigBee. The name is ZigBee. It symbolizes communication between nodes in a mesh network. So this is a mesh network. As I told you, this bottom arrangement of nodes is a mesh network. It symbolizes the zigzagging pattern or the ZigBee name communication. It symbolizes the communication between the nodes in a mesh network. ZigBee Alliance is an industry group formed to certify interoperability between vendors. So this is very important point. ZigBee Alliance in an industry group is formed to certify interoperability. So what is this interoperability? Interoperability means several type of nodes are connected in an IoT network. So if you just consider this mesh network only, there is a switch, there is a light, there is a PC, there can be other devices connected like your smartphone or any other device in the network which work on different platforms, which use produces different types of data, structured, unstructured. So all those have to be maintained by this protocol. Okay. Okay, so that is interoperability. It has to manage the different platforms and the data generated of different formats. Everything has to be managed and the network have to work in coordination. So that is interoperability. So this ZigBee is an alliance which is formed to certify interoperability between different vendors of different platform and formats. ZigBee solutions are aimed at smart objects and sensors that have low bandwidth and low power needs and allow interoperability. So that we have seen. It is useful in constrained, and the summary of this point is it is used in the constrained environment, and it also supports the interoperability. The main areas where ZigBee is most well known include automation for commercial, retail and home applications and smart energy. So these are the application areas of ZigBee. So ZigBee uses or works on IEEE 802.15.4 technology.